And the second question is, with the billions of dollars being made, is this ever going to be allowed in the mainstream media, do you think?
With this movie?
No, just the issue, I mean.
Well, yes.
Or the movie.
It has to be. Well, the movies, I'm happy to say, will this summer premiere on HBO. So it'll be in 40 million homes. And it will also be in theaters around the country throughout the summer and fall. So that's one way. And you know, there are a lot of people coming out there and talking about this. And on national television, I've done it. I was just on PBS like 3 weeks ago. So it's starting to get some penetration, and it's starting to get some, people know about this now, whereas a year ago, people didn't know about it. And the New York Times editorials have shifted from, you know, hey, natural gas boom in upstate New York to, whoa, don't do this in the watershed. And that's happened over the course of the last year. So I think that there is a movement. I think it will be addressed. The question is how complete and to what degree. And maybe this is a good time to say, in the Delaware River Basin, there's a public comment period that lasts until tomorrow at 5 o'clock about these fracturing permits. I would appreciate it if you've been moved by this film if you wanted to write them a comment. All you have to do is pull out your cell phone and text the word Gasland to 41411. So easy to remember, 41411, and that will send you the email address of the Delaware River Basin Commission. And you can just write them a 2-line email that says you should really not do hydraulic fracturing in, you know, the watershed areas of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That would be really great. The other thing I would say is we're also doing this grassroots screening tour throughout New York and Pennsylvania, some places in Colorado, Texas, Wyoming, over the summer. We are looking for interns. If anybody is interested, you could email at gaslandthemovie.com. There's an email there. I also want to say that my mom is over there and she hasn't seen the movie yet. She didn't get to go to Sundance. She is from New Haven. Hi, Mom. There you go. I'm not closing off the Q&A. I'm going to get that in with all those 3 things in. Interns were a lot of fun. Might even get a banjo lesson out of it. You know, but it's something really, you know, important that we get to the affected areas, and we're getting tons of requests from these places, especially throughout New York and Pennsylvania. And if you think about it, you're really not that far. If they do 10,000 wells along the New York border, you're going to have an air pollution situation along the size of the 4th largest city in America. You know, very close to here. Where is it? You know, 100 miles from here. That's going to change this region forever. You know, just think about all the people fleeing the Catskills and trying to buy property in Connecticut and the Berkshires. You know, it's going to change it could totally change the way the East Coast works. This is a major invasion of a lot of Texas and Oklahoma culture, very close to here. And it's something I do believe, however, that is preventable because it's insane, you know, in my view, to do this. Because you're talking about a short-term energy fix versus, you know, the future of the water of the region. And once you've contaminated an aquifer, you can't go back. You can't fix the problem under the ground. You can't get to the contamination. So it affects everybody in this room on the East Coast, I think, as an East Coast person. And I can't stress enough that it would be very important to try to get involved. Even just tell 2 people you saw the film, you heard about this. But certainly to text the Gasland 41411, is that what it was? 41411. And did anybody do it? Did it work? Yeah, okay. And to write in, or just to continue to follow the issue. We have a Facebook page. We have a sign up at our website, gaslandthemovie.com.
Any way to get a copy of the DVD before it comes out on HBO?
No. Any way to get a copy of the DVD before it comes out on HBO?
Before it comes out? To spread the word faster?
No, there's no way that we can spread the word faster than it being on HBO. Trust me. There's absolutely no way in human history possible. That goes, 3 million people will watch it in the first week. And even if you were distributed like the way they did Avatar.
It's not going to happen for several months.
Yeah. But you know, it's still the fastest way we could do this. But DVDs will be out, and they will be out like 6 months after that. Here's a question over here. Okay.
I grew up in Colorado, and I must say, I spent summers in some of that country, and it was really sad to see what's become of it.
Yeah.
But I was curious, as Colorado, this is not a state without resources. This is a state that turned down the Winter Olympics because people didn't want the mountains destroyed. It has lots of national parks, and most of all, it has not only the University of Colorado, which you have mentioned, but also the United Atmospheric Research Centers, northern universities throughout the state. And it had zoning laws and public health laws. And it seems to me that the mobilization of state defenses or regulations is as much an issue here as are the federal laws. And I was curious as to what happened to the local environmental movements and whether or not they're going to be mobilized to protect the health of people who really have a right to protection from the state from having these kinds of things happen to them.
I think every major environmental organization is working on this issue, and it's really disturbing to see the deregulation part of this, the changing of all the laws, because basically when the EPA was taken off the job, it fell to the state regulatory agencies who were underfunded and couldn't deal with this. They're just basically bulldozed. And that's what's happening in New York and Pennsylvania, is that you have 17 inspectors in New York to deal with the proposed 100,000 wells or something.
I guess as a follow-up question, I was wondering what universities could do in terms of environmental departments. After all, we have this school which has produced, whose students have produced this film festival. But the states that you mentioned also have strong environmental programs. The Colorado School of Mines is just a good example. And whether or not you've looked into the relationships between universities, local government, and the industries as well as the people who live there.
I'm hoping that this happens across the country, because this is actually really a turning point. When I was out west, they said, look, we're not happy this is happening to you, but because it's coming to the East Coast, we might finally get some attention on this. I think that what's going to be really important is to have the universities and the grassroots organizations start to connect the dots. I mean, that's one of the reasons to try to make the film as widespread, comprehensive in many places as I possibly could, so that you could actually see those people make connections after the fact and connect the East to the West. And this is happening actually at Cooper Union this week. There's a big symposium which features Theo Colborn and Al Appleton and people from the East and the West, and hopefully there'll be some press generated on that. I'm interested in doing like a national congress in Winter Soldier or something in DC, where you have a huge 3 or 4 days of testimony. I think this is a turning point. I think that this is a moment where there's so many groups in New York and Pennsylvania that are learning from what's happening in the West. Calvin Tillman has been doing speaking tours. The mayor of Dish has taken his vacation, coming to Pennsylvania and going from town to town. So it's starting to happen. And what I want to try to do as a filmmaker in the documentary, cataloging this, is to get people in one room and say, okay, that sounds like a terrific idea. If there's 5 people in this room who know how to pursue that, go start working it out, because I have to go to the next place and show the film again. But then I think that hopefully that's part of the process, and if you have a specific way that we can contribute to that, write it in to the email, because we're developing a website which hopefully starts to point people in the direction of action, and we're trying to sort of develop an action plan at the end of these screenings, and that's part of this texting thing, and there's different alerts, and please sign up at the website. We're trying to figure out what to do with all the attention. I guess we'll do one more question there. Or I guess 2 more questions. One there and then there. Oh, there's the mic. Okay.
Hi. What do you think about offshore drilling? See issues with onshore drilling. What do you think about offshore drilling? Does that have the same kind of effects and impacts, or is it different?
I really don't know anything about offshore.